Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. Got to give a shout out to my sponsors: High Frequency Performance Wear, Eden Clothing Co., BBA Audio. I'd like to thank these sponsors for keeping me fresh. Keeping the gear, keeping me rolling in society when I go out and do these interviews and talk to people, and as I venture into a new endeavor, which is becoming a director and a film editor and a movie writer, is something that I'm having fun doing at the time. And remember to go check out the trailer for the upcoming movie titled Everyday People, which is coming soon, this September, God willing. But we definitely on it, and we having fun doing it. So, hey, tell your friends about it, and everybody that participated in the movie, from Gino, Low Key, Coon Docs, my boy Steve Hakeem, just so many people, Dave for editing, and Muhammad 2G, and Shamika, and just so many people, man, that participated. Terish, one of the great comedians from Houston. So keep that rolling. King, it don't stop, so we definitely putting it down. But this particular radio show is dealing with Muslims that were in America before Columbus. Now, this is coming from Islam in America before Columbus. This is Hashim Zubair, and this was the February 14th of 1998. And he did a very interesting documentary on what took place, and he actually timelined it. And the reason why I'm doing this show is because a lot of white people aren't aware, and a lot of black people aren't aware of who they are and where they came from, and their contributions to this country. But during the presidential election campaign, Hillary Clinton stated that there were Muslims in America before Columbus. And people was like, no, what? No, that can't be. BS. No. Even though Tallahassee, Florida, Tallahassee means Allah will deliver you. And the natives pointed out that it was Tallahassee before the Europeans arrived. So who named it, and how did these names get about, and what is the Arabic connection to the Native Americans? So we want to deal with that, but let me get started with this work. And this is studying, it says studying of the universe brought forth more questions and more curiosity. The Muslims in West Africa were so intrigued by what was on the other side of the Great Sea that they began their expeditions into the great unknown. Early reports of these travels are sketchy, but we can be sure that they crossed the Atlantic by 889 CE. That was 603 years before Columbus. And that is not counting the actual physical evidence in the United States today that dates back even further. However, we do know, as DeLacy O'Leary pointed out, that Muslims definitely had the scientific knowledge and skill to make journey across the Atlantic Ocean. We were in the Americas hundreds of years before Columbus, and of that we can be sure. Clyde Ahmad Winters, Barry Fell, Alexander von Wittenau, Ivan van Sertima, what they do have in common a lot, they all provided evidence to the above statement, and it is a statement of fact, not an opinion, although many have chosen to ignore it in the past. Now we are all aware of the grave tragedy that befell the various African people after discovery of America. Many people from there were forcefully taken from their homes to America to serve the people who had taken over that land, black slavery. We also know for a fact that many of these people were indeed Muslims. That has never been in dispute, nor should it be. Clyde Ahmad Winters had given us details of how huge numbers of Muslims were brought to Latin America in a 1978 issue of Al Ittihad, a quarterly journal of Islamic studies. Although later on in 1543, Muslims in Spanish colonies were ejected from them by the residing government. Now, what it's stating is that Muslims or black people in West Africa was already traveling back and forth to the Americas, and some was making homes right here in America. And then some had befriended what they called the Native Americans in America. That's why if you Google, you can study and see that Arabic was spoken by the Cherokee nation. And if you look at some of the signature of the names of the treaties that the Cherokee was signing, you will see Abdullah and different Arabic names. They signed their name on that treaty. So it's proven that and why this is so important is to let the white people know who say that they have Indian blood. One, we're not discounting that. We're just looking at the facts. First was the $5 Indian, and the $5 Indian was those whites who paid $5 to get government benefits that the government was benefiting the Native Americans. So they want to go on the census as Indians, and they paid the census taker $5 so they can note them down as being Native American. One. The second white Native American was those who were considered mulatto, who mixed in with the darker Native Americans, and they became lighter, and they took over the tribe and pushed the original Native American, but a full-blooded Native American, they pushed them out of the reservations. And so to take that over, and that's why it's having so many problems today. We'll be putting more information and facts regarding that, but we want to continue on and Muslims in America before Columbus. Now it states Dr. Barry Fell, a noted New Zealand archaeologist and linguist of Harvard University, showed detailed existing evidence in his work Saga America that Muslims were not only in the Americas before Columbus arrived, but very active there as well. The language of the Pima people in the south, west, and the Algonquian language had many words in their vocabulary that were Arabic in origin, and Islamic petroglyphs were found in places such as California. In the Inyo County of the state of California, according to Fell, there is another petroglyph that states Jesus ben Maria, which means in Arabic, Jesus, son of Mary. This is not a Christian phrase. In fact, the phrase is to be found in the verses of the ayats of the Holy Quran. This glyph, as Fell believes, is centuries older than the U.S. In the western states of the U.S., he found text, diagrams, and charts engraved on rocks that were used for schooling that dated back to 700 to 800 CE. The schoolings was in subjects such as mathematics, history, geography, astronomy, and sea navigation. The language of instructions was Kufic Arabic from North Africa. Now, let me repeat that again. The schooling was in subjects such as mathematics was first. Math is first. History, because you have to know where you came from to know where you're going, because you plot that by mathematics. Geography, the land location. And you got to know what type of vegetables, seeds, fruits, plants that will grow in this type of soil in this particular place on this particular part of the globe. Astronomy, you have to know navigation because the Moors navigated from the stars. And sea navigation, you have to know where you're going. You have to plot your course. You have to get in your boat, be the captain of your own ship, plot your course by your mathematics and science to get to the desired location. And it says the language of instructions was Kufic Arabic from North Africa. And at that time, North Africa is considered as part of being white, but really North Africa is where the Moors came that based the knowledge. And back in the day when they considered the term you were white or black, at that time white meant holder of gold, but not, it wasn't a particular dealing with race, it was more of a social status. The German art historian Alexander von Wittenau also provides evidence that Islamic peoples were in America in a time between 300 and 900 CE. This was at least half a millennium before Columbus was born. Carved heads that were described as Moorish looking were dated between 300 and 900 CE, and another group of heads dated between 900 and 1500 CE. An artifact found in the earlier group was photographed, and when later examined was found to resemble an old man in a fez, like the Egyptians. Now the Egyptians wore fezzes, and the culture. Let's put it like this. Let's say if we're in Houston and say we riding on elbows and Vogues or we jamming screw, and let's say it wasn't known for that particular culture style in New York, but say later on, say we had a eclipse or some cataclysmic happened, and somebody found a elbow on a rim, and they found let's say old screw tape, then they'd say, well, man, it's been noted that people from Houston traveled all over the world because we got evidence of this particular culture that was invented in H-Town. We've now also we seen displays of it in New York. Basically, what it's saying. Now, Ivan van Sertima is widely renowned for his work. They came before Columbus, which showed that there was definitely contact between the ancient and early African people with the Native Americans. This and other of his works, African presence in early America, both prove that there were African Muslim settlements in the Americas before the expedition of Columbus was even conceived. His research has shown that Arab Muslims trade was active in America, and one can only imagine that the marvelous culture that the Native Americans had that shared so much with Islamic teachings was of great attraction to the Muslims that came so far across the sea. And for the record, Christopher Columbus, the man who so-called discovered America, himself declared that his impression of the Carib people, which is the Jamaicans, but the Caribbean people were Mohammedans. He knew of the Mandinka presence in the New World, Muslims, and that Muslims from the west coast of Africa had settled down in the Caribbean, Central, South, and North America. Unlike Columbus, they had not come to enslave the populations or plunder the land. They had come to trade, and they married among the natives. Columbus further admitted that on October 21st, 1492, as he was sailing past uh, Jabera on the coast of Cuba. He saw a mosque and remnants of other masjids have been found in Cuba, Mexico, Texas, and Nevada. Now, I know about the mosques in Texas, especially what they put up coming through Galveston. That could have been done by uh, Estevan, Mustafa Zamora, or even it wasn't Estevan Mustafa Zamora because he was in the 1500s, early 1500s. So if it was set up before 1492 in Texas, we know that these people, African brothers and Muslims who came from West Africa to the Americas, some came up through the Gulf Coast and settled throughout Texas and started teaching and was mixing in with the natives and was teaching Arabic to the Native Americans, or what they call Indians. So we know that our presence was here before Columbus came and before they started kidnapping our brothers and sisters from Africa and bringing them here. They enslaved the people who was already here first and indoctrinated them. And so that's where you get all the different cultures and different looking black people in different shades. As it goes back all the way through the people who came and settled here before Columbus, and then it also comes from the rape, kidnapping, torture from the white man during the slavery time. On the second voyage, Columbus took to the West Indies. The people of Haiti, he took to the West Indies, the people of Haiti told him that black people had been there before him. They showed him spears of these visitors, and further study of the metals involved in their construction showed that they could have been made only in one place, Guinea. Another historian, P.V. Ramos, also showed in his essay An African Presence in Early America that the dietary regulations of the Carib was similar to Islamic teachings. See, the Caribs were the name of the Caribbeans, and they've been there. They've been on that land for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Before they were called Jamaicans, and before they were called Saint Kitts, and before it was just the Carib tribe. But let us say that we are wrong. Perhaps it is all just a coincidence. After all, there are no living people or survivors of the Native American Muslims, are they? Wrong. And this last part is what originally drew me into this quest for knowledge. An expose written by a native Muslim. Brother Maher Abdel Razik El wrote in his account recently posted on the internet about the Native Americans that were Muslims. Is that brother Razak? I know Brother Razak. Okay, good. Okay, wrote in his account recently posted on the internet about the Native Americans that were Muslims. He is of the Cherokee tribe, known as Eagle Sun Walker, and a pipe carrier warrior of the Cherokees in New York. He tells of Muslims' travels that came to his land over 1,000 years ago, and what is more important, existing evidence of legislation, treaties, and resolutions that prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that Muslims were in the Americas and very active. Although these documents have been written after 1492, it is still interesting to note that Islam was in fact there. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship of 1787 have the signatures of Abdul Kaik and Mohammed bin Abdullah, according to federal court case from the Continental Congress. And we'll get touch bases with you more on that. This is Verbal Pick Radio. We got to keep things like this going. No, we're out.